Good afternoon. I am honored and delighted to be here. My name is Kiki James, and I am a misfit. The topic of my talk today is the audacity to redefine charity work in Nigeria. Today I'm going to tell you a little bit about myself, from my journey from childhood to womanhood and the experiences that led to me starting Ace Charity. About my childhood, I was very, very naughty. I was troublesome, I was talkative, I was raised by my aunties. I met my father when I was 10. He disowned me when I was 10. I met him again when I was 28. He disowned me twice when I was 28. I went to boarding school when I was 10. I was in boarding school from the age of 10 to 15. And then I was shipped over to the UK to meet my mum when I was 15. And I moved out when I was 16 because we didn't know each other. African parents have this beautiful thing where they do the best for you in the best way they know how, and they leave you with these aunties, and one day they're ready, everything's perfect, come home, come and live with me. But there's no magic wand, there was no relationship, so I decided to move out. At the age of 16, I don't know what gave me the audacity to be in a country for 1 year, to believe that I could actually survive by myself. But I moved out. I got a job, I got a room, I started paying rent. £40 a week was my first room. I was so proud. I was so proud to pay bills. I was so proud to have my own key and walk in and not hear the sound of anyone telling me what to do. And from the age of 16 up until the age of 21, I worked. I had retail jobs here and there. I did customer service. I just wanted to survive by myself. And from the age of 18, you're supposed to go to college, right? I did go to college, but I didn't pay any attention. I got bored easily. I really didn't want to study. I didn't want to study. I just wanted to work. I wanted to earn money, and I felt this is life. I am ready. My life is made. By the age of 21, I decided that I realized I was lacking a lot of skills. So I decided that, okay, let me go to university. Everyone says you should go to university. Let me go. Let me learn some skills. Because I couldn't learn these skills in the retail store. And I couldn't learn these skills because all I had was getting discounts from my friends, and if people needed jobs, they would call me because I was always working. I went to university. I don't like exams. So I said, what am I going to study? I already know I don't like exams. I already know I'm not good with numbers. So I decided that I would look for a course that had no exams. And I found one. I studied health services management because I know I don't like exams, but I want to get a 2-1. I'm very competitive. There was no way I was going to then go to university eventually and come out with anything less than a 2-1 or a first. So I found the course Health Services Management. I attempted to add some psychology to it, and then I realized it had numbers, right? And you have to do some calculations, and I quickly dropped it. So I just focused on Health Services Management. And for some reason, I couldn't pay too much attention in class, but what I could do was go to the library and study. We had 24-hour libraries. So in the UK, I would go to the library from 12 p.m. to 6 a.m. I would fall asleep during lectures, but I would listen, I would do my work, and I ended up leaving university with a 2-1, with no exams, just coursework. And I was very proud. It wasn't easy because I had to work 2 jobs, and I probably only got a 2-1 because I was very competitive, but thankfully it worked out well. So my biological mother, at the age of 10, she took me to a park just to feed people. All she wanted to do that day was gather a bunch of people and give them food. I was 10. I thought, okay, let's go. We went to Lagos. I think it was somewhere in Mile 2, actually. I remember Mile 2. I remember the bus garage. I remember people sitting on the floor, and then we just gave them food. And after feeding them, there was this one lady with her child. There's a tattoo of her on my heart. I will never forget her for the rest of my life because her expression has led me to where I am today. And ever since that day, when she received the food, she was so happy, and her child was so happy, and I thought how easy it is to make somebody happy. And ever since that day, all I wanted to do was help people. I decided to go back to Nigeria. I was raised in the UK, and then I decided to go back to Nigeria after a while because I thought it'd be best to help people in Nigeria rather than the UK. If my finger hurts, there's a number for me to call in the UK. And I realized in Nigeria, we need a lot more help. Everything's structured here. Let me go back home and see what I can do. But when I came to Nigeria for my first 2 years, I was very, very angry. I was just angry. I was walking around and I was angry for the first 2 years. Gender inequality reigned supreme in Nigeria. There would be two of us standing, male, female. Even the gate man would ignore you because you're female, just because in Nigeria they consider the men more superior. I saw corruption at the highest and lowest level. In the market, I saw corruption. So when people talk about corruption as though it's just our government, like he said, most of us here are corrupt. I saw a country that had no customer service. I was so angry. I didn't understand why people could not say please and thank you. I never got it. You would go to the bank, you would be filling a form, and somebody would come to you and say, borrow me your pen. Give me biro. No, please. No, thank you. And I would say, no. Say please. And he'd look at me like, are you crazy? Can I have your pen? And I'm like, say please. If you don't say please, I will not give it to you. So he would say, okay, sorry, please. And I'm like, why would we not say please and thank you? So for 2 years, I was very angry. I was particularly angry at the fact that you would leave Heathrow. Our people, our Nigerian people, would queue up nicely for 6 hours or 20 hours. If they told you to queue up for 20 hours, they would queue up for 20 hours. And the moment we would land in Lagos, the wind would blow, and something would descend on our people, and they would begin to jump the queue. And every time I was out, I would just have arguments all the time. I didn't care if you were older or younger. If there's a queue, you queue up. You don't jump the queue. You've just come from the UK, but because we're in Heathrow, you know everybody here, and you jump the queue. I would always argue all the time. So for the first 2 years, I was very angry. When I came to Nigeria, I decided to stay in Abuja, northern Nigeria. I have no family here. I know no governor, no auntie, no uncle, no mother, no father, no director of any organization, and I had no job. But I just wanted to do charity work. So because I had no job and I had no connections, I started selling my personal items because I needed money at some point. Eventually, I got a part-time job, and that helped me pave my way. But I got a part-time job, and I used all that money to do charity work. I just wanted to add value to people's lives. I didn't understand how people would see somebody selling a banana for 500 naira. They would haggle and make sure they paid 250 naira. But they would go into a boutique, and they would buy a pair of shoes for 250,000 naira. But you would argue with the lady under the sun, standing there for 5 hours trying to sell a bowl of banana. I didn't get it. So all I wanted to do was add value to people's lives. The same month I arrived, I founded ACE Charity. ACE Charity stands for Assisting, Caring, and Empowering African Lives. We have 3 main focuses. Our main focus is education and training, economic empowerment, and affordable healthcare. To find out a bit more about the 3 focuses, please visit our website, www.acecharityafrica.org. Some pictures should come up, and they will defend, justify, and prove everything I'm saying to you. The very first 2 years of ACE Charity was extremely challenging. We couldn't get funding. We could not get funding from anywhere. So I would use my money, I would use everybody else's money, and we just couldn't get funding. So I didn't know what else to do. I would go to organizations and have them donate to us, but they would tell me, you don't have an office. If you don't have an office, we can't give you money. And I say to them, why will I get an office? This is our first year. If I get an office and you give me money, I will incur bills. Then I would have to pay rent, I would have to pay light, I'd have to pay staff. It doesn't make any sense to me. Give us the money and let us use the money to help people. They would say no. Then people would ask me, who's your father? Where are you from? Are you married? Who's your husband? What local government does your father come from? I used to get so wound up because I thought, how does that have anything to do with the work we want to do on the field? But these were the questions I kept getting asked all the time. Who's on your board? And at the time I thought, so you want me to recruit people to put on our board just so you can give us money? How does that make any sense? It just made no sense to me. What school did you go to? And I would just reply, and then they will ask me the best one, where are you from? Initially, I'll tell them my mother's Yoruba, my father's Igbo. And they would then ask me, what village? And I would say, well, my father's pretty much a sperm donor, so I don't know. And they would look at me like, you're crazy. I'm like, but I don't know. So it just caused a lot of problems for me. Then going forward, I started telling everybody, I'm not from anywhere. I'm just Nigerian. Like, it doesn't matter where I'm from. I'm just Nigerian. So I refused to pay rent, and thankfully one day, what had happened, well, before I get to that story, I decided, because we couldn't get funding, we had to get creative. We thought, okay, let me get donations. For some reason, a lot of Nigerians do not like to give their own clothes. They have it in their room, they're not wearing it. It's been there for 2 years, but because of their misconceptions or belief system, they wouldn't give it out. So I had to go back to the UK, and I thought, let's speak to Arik Air. Speak to Arik Air, let's see if they can give us donations. Found somebody in Arik Air, we became partners with them, and what happened was they gave us free flight tickets in order to bring donations. We were able to bring loads of donations and started giving them out to people. And whilst doing ACE from my flat, I decided that it's best to go and partner with organizations like the Hilton Hotel, who understand partnerships. I didn't know anybody at the Hilton. I walked there, said, can I speak to Mr. Shola or whoever the person I need to speak to? I sent emails. When I sent the emails, I didn't get a response. So I didn't wait for a response. I went to the Hilton, and I didn't demand a response. I just wanted to see who I sent the email to. Very long story short, I was told that you have to come back and see this man on a particular day. So I went there 8 o'clock in the morning. He was in a meeting for 4 hours. I sat there, and eventually he came out. I went to see him, and he said, what do you want? You have 2 minutes. And I had to tell him what ACE Charity was about in 2 minutes. And that's how we got the partnership with the Hilton Hotel. And we've been able to achieve a lot with the Hilton Hotel. And we did not have an office. We didn't have an office. So one day, I met this lady. I was doing odd jobs, and Mrs. Apache, her name is. And I said to her, I can work for you for free. Just give me a room. You have a spare room in your building. It's not doing anything. Why don't I work for you for free and you give us an office? And I don't know what happened, but God manifested or descended and spoke to her on our behalf. And she gave us an office. We had an office free of charge, no rent, no bills, in Maitama, for free. And the second office, we're no longer there. We're there for 2 years. We found another lady, amazing lady, Mrs. Aisha Waziri Umar. And I tried to convince her. I didn't tell her I was going to work for free for 2 years this time, thankfully. But she was really nice. And we're in our second office. We're 5 years old. In our second office, no rent, no bills, donated, free of charge, in Nigeria. So my time's up, and I'm going to try my best to run through everything else. ACE has been through so many challenges, and if I wasn't determined, if I didn't have the drive or the discipline or I didn't have the passion, there's no way. I remember we've been to local schools where we wanted to help and put a library in the school, but the head teacher told the gateman to send us away because she said, there's no way you actually want to put a library. She said to my face, you want to make us look bad. That's what she said to me. I went on my knees. I begged her. I said, no, I'm trying to raise money. We want to put a fully functional library where children use computers, where they can read, but not just to read. They need to learn to read with understanding. And she's like, why are you trying to make me look bad? Get out. This small girl, who are you? Get away. She chased us away from the school. We had to find another school. Thankfully, we did. And we worked there. I've had a lady come from a major bank in Abuja to see us in the office, tell us that there are funds allocated for a charity organization, and she would like to take 90% whilst we take 10%. She said it to my face, and I couldn't believe it, so I sat there, I didn't know how to respond, and I decided that what I would do is give her a history of Ace Charity. Maybe something would click in her head. It didn't work. She still said, okay, 20%. And I'm like, really? And there was nothing I could do. I couldn't believe it. I've had so many crazy challenges trying to do real charity work. We get it. We know that a lot of people don't understand what charity work means. But Ace Charity, we will continue to redefine what charity means in Nigeria. So we became 5. Very quickly, I'll tell you about Jerry's story. Jerry is a guy that works in the library, and we started paying him 40,000 naira every single month. But we were running out of money because we still didn't get that much funds. The Lagos Polo Club were very good to us, and one year they helped raise about 2 million. That was the only funds we received that year. So, of course, it ran out, and I'd have to use my money or get money from family who thought I was crazy. They didn't understand who borrows money to do charity. So we ran out of money, and he had been in the library almost 2 years. And I said, Jerry, I'm really sorry. I think we should get youth services, so youth coppers, so we can pay them 18,000 naira. And he said to me, I'll take the 18,000 naira because I believe in ACE. And I started crying on the phone. I'm not an emotional person per se, but I was crying. The tears didn't come out, but I was really crying in my heart because I was really touched by what he'd said. And we had literally run out of money. I was using my money. At the time, I was using my fiance's money, and he's like, Kiki, what's going to happen? But there was nothing he could do. My dreams, he had to believe, and he supported me, and I'm very thankful to him. So we were running out of money, but I was still trying to meet people. And then I met a lady through an old client who said, oh, there's this lady I want you to come and meet. I think she's going to like the work you're doing. He just told me she would like the work you're doing. And I stalked her. He didn't say she was going to give you money. He said she's going to like what you're doing. I found her address. I went to her house unannounced, twice, I think it was. She sent me away from her house and said, how did you get my address? I said, well, I had been speaking to somebody on the phone. I didn't want to get the person in trouble. I found her address, and I stalked this lady, and she wasn't happy with me at all. So 2 weeks later, she called me back, and I said to my husband, well, this lady's not going to help us. I've tried my best. And she says, come and give me a presentation. I give her a presentation, and she said 2 words. Okay. I'll call you. And I'm like, okay, thank you, bye, end of story. 11 p.m. that night, I will never forget, I was about to sleep. I get a call saying you have a meeting at the villa the next day. I don't know anybody at the villa. I don't know anybody. So we went to the villa, we ended up meeting with Zara. So from having almost zero in the account, between this summer, just about 4 months, we have over 35 million in the account, and I didn't know anybody. So I didn't know anybody. I have no political connections or anything. ACE's work spoke for us. Lastly, I'm just going to conclude quickly. We became 5 years old this year, and I decided that we're going to do a concert, but we're not going to pay for it. And everyone thought I was crazy. I said, we're going to call artists to come. We had a long list. We told them we're not going to pay. So the list quickly dwindled. But we had a few people come, and everything we did on the day was free of charge. We had the hall for free, we had the artists come for free, we have Arike, who are still one of our partners. They donated tickets. We paid for some of the tickets. But we only paid taxes. 5,000 naira for a business class ticket is not so bad. So they really helped us. And the hall was free, the food was free. And on the day, I still could not believe that we raised over 12 million and we didn't spend that much money. Even the cake was donated. And I'm trying to get people to understand that if you follow your passion and you're determined and you're transparent, you can actually achieve your dreams. It doesn't matter what it is, be it charity work or anything else you'd like to do. So thankfully, we were able to raise a lot of money. So we didn't just redefine what charity work meant, we redefined what charity events meant in Nigeria. I have never heard of any organization in Nigeria to do a charity event and not spend a lot more money. So I'm very thankful for that. In the last 5 years, we've achieved a fair bit. That's what people have said. And we are very grateful because every day I wake up disappointed because I feel like there's so much work to do. But I want to conclude by saying this headstrong, very naughty, very stubborn, I was that child that when parents take you out, they tell you, Kiki, when we are here, don't talk. If they don't ask you any question, don't say anything. Because I used to ask too many questions. I was that child. And now I realize that all of that was drive, determination, and discipline. And I believe that Nigerians are the ones who will solve Nigerians' problems. I believe we have so many bright, talented geniuses amongst us. I really do believe that 99% is the same as 0. I believe you have to be transparent. I believe in order. I believe in hard work. I believe that the brightest minds here are going to do so much better than us if we give them a chance. And I definitely believe that we need to create a new pathway. I demand that we create a new pathway, but I don't think you should wait for the new pathway. I think you should create it so people can actually create theirs and make things better. And lastly, I really, 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 truly believe in my heart of hearts, deep down in my core, that this really cool charity that I work with a bunch of great people, will redefine what charity means in Nigeria, in the whole of Africa. ACE Charity will set the template for what charity work should be. Only if I could lend you my eyes to see what ACE Charity will achieve. And I really do believe that if you follow your gut, your passion, you have drive, you have determination, and you are disciplined, you will achieve a lot more. Thank you so much.